Hello! It is September 9th, 2020, and the light is winning. I am Holly. I'm founder of What the Stars Say. We offer intuitive astrological counseling, and our mission is to help you explore the cosmic influence in your daily life. So today I'm presenting the STARCAST for September, and STARCAST is free monthly content that's offered that gives really an overview of the energy and the cosmic influences we're experiencing in that upcoming month or the month that we've just entered into. And I wanted to present this earlier, but I got distracted with some research and life, really. But I knew today I had to do it because today is the first really important day that I want to talk to you about. I did a very brief full moon session. It was live on Facebook. You can find What the Stars Say on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, gave up on Twitter, but we're out there. And whatthestarsay.com, where you can easily subscribe to the email sign up and get the notification when there's new content, a new blog or vlog. I intend to supplement so many of the things I'm saying this month with written blogs. I really want to get back to that. And I'm trying to get past the outside life to keep going forward with the content and everything. So I appreciate, first of all, your time, your attention, your patience, and understanding that a lot of times I just have to get the information out when I can. It might not be the best audio. I don't have a whole set. You're here with me right now in a corner of my living room. The dog's nearby. But the important the important part is the message. And I appreciate that you turn to What the Stars Say to explore the cosmic influence in your life, and that we are that resource for you and everything. So that always means a lot, and I appreciate your patience with the content. This has obviously been a different year, for everyone. So there's been a move. I'm still working on different studio space. I have new equipment. Hopefully this video looks better and sounds better. I'm working on my part for that, but always understand that this is free content. So it's one of those things like you get what you pay for, and I hope that what really resonates the most is the message and what that means to you and how it can help you better navigate your life. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for your time and your attention. And thanks for joining me on this journey that is 2020. I feel like this is a vital year to talk about the astrological stories playing out because they're huge players. It's very hard to deny the cosmic influence in our life at this time. So one of the main things I wanted to get, we did the September 2nd full moon together, and I gave like a brief overview. But what I was really talking about is this month really began with some illumination, and we're going to kind of tie into this theme here, okay? So September had a tense start because we had Mars, the planet of action and aggression and all of that, squaring off against Saturn, which is system, time, structures, authorities, and everything like that. So one of the main key things that I shared in that full moon video that is so important throughout the month of September to keep in mind here a little bit is that there's something that is being revealed to you. It's already been revealed. I was hoping, and this is why I waited on this talk, I was hoping if it hadn't been revealed to you yet, that between September 1st and 7th, it would be revealed to you. And what this is a big clue, because right now, this is the second time this year that the major players, those inner planets, have asked us to go back to where we were in the spring, okay? What's so interesting about this is that we were in this collective experience in the spring when the lockdowns happened. So go back, and I'm sorry to have to ask you to do this, but it's important. Go back to the spring, March and April, and that lockdown, and think about the themes, the issues, the fears, the anxiety that came up in your life at that time, okay? Because whether we like it or not, what the stars are saying is you got to go back in order to go forward. So there might have been issues that came up at that time that on a personal collective level we tried to deal with, but we didn't really have all the information. We didn't quite understand the issue, or we didn't know how much it needed addressed. This can play out in so many things because even though I'm not seeing the astrology and I'm not hearing others astrologers say it, but this is where intuitive astrology comes in. So I'm going to throw out the intuitive part of it. I really think that a big major player this year was the changes of the nodes and also the eclipse. We're entering such an interesting time with our luminaries. It's impossible to not have endings and beginnings happen when you have 6 eclipses in a year like we have, okay? So this is a year that's really ripe for endings and beginnings. And how this is playing out is with these nodal shifts and these lunar eclipses and these solar eclipses and everything, we're shifting elements, okay? So we're going from Cancer, which is a water sign, Capricorn, which is an earth sign, into Gemini, which is an air sign, and Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. So earth, we've got water and earth switching to air and fire. Now, the Cancer and the Capricorn, this is the intuition part that I see. This is still simmering. It's playing out right now. And what this is, and this leads back to that spring, Cancer's home, right? Saturn's the structures that we build, our reputation, our status, and all those things. Look at how those two themes are playing out so strongly, and that joining, yet that tension between work and home. I think that for so many people, this Mars retrograde and what we're going into September is about work and home. It's about that Cancer and Capricorn, where, the home, the nurturing, the being there, the being that supportive parent, that person that nests, that takes comfort in the food being made and selected and all that stuff. That's very Cancer energy, and that mother, that roots, that home energy. Then you have Capricorn, and Capricorn has this, we entered this year with this Capricorn stellium, lots of power and everything like that, but Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and that's where the true ass-kicking shit show of this year comes in, because Pluto's just knocking it out. So all those things that we could have identified ourselves with, the authority, the basically that whole system, the institutions that were once so important are now being bombarded or questioned. The areas of broken systems, our broken healthcare system, our broken educational system, our broken finances, these are all being confronted. So the Cancer part is that part of home, the part of us that's being able to return to the home this year and to focus on nurturing and what's going on in our homes. When we're caught in the busyness of every day, it's difficult to see. And so many of us could be like, well, it is kind of weird we have daylight savings when we're not an agricultural community anymore. And it is kind of weird that our school systems are set up in a time where the kids worked the farms in the summer and they went to 7, and never mind the fact that everybody has to be at work at 9. I mean, the struggle is real when it comes to being a working parent in the modern age. There are issues within the education system. There are issues within our work-life balance, and we're having to deal with those right now, collectively and personally. And I really suspect that so much of the astrological story playing out is playing off that Cancer Capricorn part that's happening. And what's so hard is we're going that shift of energy. The Gemini and Sagittarius, that air and fire, is a totally different world. And that's why it's so hard for so many of us to pivot and pick up where everything's going, okay? It's very difficult, and it plays out on a collective level in really interesting ways. But I'm just going off on this tangent right now because it's an important tangent, because when I get into what you're dealing with now, you have to look at this part, okay? So we had the major player kickoff in January 12th, and it just trickled down, and then we went into what we experienced in March and April. And although I'm not looking at your personal chart going, oh, here's what's going on, I can guess some of the things that were going on in your life because they were going on in my life. They were going on in everybody's life, okay? So then we all had our thing. The materialism that we identify with so much, we didn't even want to admit how much we dealt with the Capricorn themes of status, influence, reputation, what we build, what we're able to build to make last. Is what we built able to last? Is it able to to handle this? Because how I described this energy in January was, it's going to be like the big bad wolf comes through. And if your house is made of hay or straw, it's not going to be left standing. It's only the brick. So now a lot of us have seen the hay and straw go down, and we're like, okay, we've got some bricks left, but it might not be the situation. So many things on a Capricorn level, our status, our reputation. I mean, that's the beautiful people, the influencers and everything. That's all gone. That's no longer a way to identify ourselves anymore. So we're having a huge identity crisis. We identified with our job. We identified with our income and the things it afforded us and the things we were able to do. Who are we when all of that is gone or suddenly irrelevant, right? Saturn and Capricorn this year is looking at the impermanence of it all. Capricorn wants it all, wants to build, wants to get so full. What happens when you get so full, right? What happens if you gorge yourself? It has to come out, The bubble, like you fill the balloon up so much and everything, it's going to burst. It's going to burst. So we're in the bursting of that bubble. So when you're having a hard time and you're dealing with these energies or just the collective suffering of it all that we're going through, keep in mind, there's no way this can't be a year where all the issues are out. All the skeletons have been dragged out of the closet and we're all having to look at them right now. And it's really not a pretty sight because we were in mad denial about how bad things were, how broken these systems were. And it's very challenging for us to collectively confront that and the ways where our lives weren't totally secure or the impermanence in our life. But impermanence is one of the key themes of 2020. It has to be. Because one, you've got the Saturn and Capricorn part and everybody just expanding or, destroying it or just like pointing it out. That's the part that's just dragging all those skeletons out. It's showing what's left and what is broken. What is corrupt? What is broken? What is out of balance? This is also Uranus and Taurus coming in, okay? But you can't deny the fact that this year, astrologically, the story is impermanence because we have the Saturn and Capricorn. We have 6 eclipses. That's beginning, ending galore. And then we had a retrograde where if you want to talk about it, we had 9 celestials in retrograde, but 6 were planets. So that is insane because the most planets you can have is 7. The most eclipses would be like around 7. You know what I mean? Like 3 or 4 is common in a year. 2020, you get all of them. There's so much coming to you right now, and it's about ending and beginning. And with those nodes shifting, it's about realigning us on our path. And that's something so many people are. So we've been through all these changes, all this exposure, all of this unraveling, right? All of this impermanence of things, all of this confusion. We're still in a retrograde season. To the end of this month, you're in retrograde season. This whole summer was about going back and reflecting. So when you feel sad about all the things, how it didn't feel like a real summer, this is the first day of fall. I got a little knit sweater on, I've got a little hat. It feels like fall. And I feel like I got ripped off of my summer, and many people did. It didn't feel like quite the summer that we expected or even a normal summer. But we were all doing so much work beneath the surface, beneath the calm surface. There was so much reviewing in our mind. And I'm sure so many of you put in your work this retrograde season and you went back. Okay, this isn't working. Where do I go now? Okay, this is suddenly an issue. I thought about it. What about this? And why didn't I do? There's been so much reviewing. So even though on the outside it might not seem like you accomplished much or it was a normal summer, I hope for you, and I suspect it was a productive summer. So what happened is we went into September with a real tense start because Mars in Aries, which is at home, which is like, firepower out the wazoo, firepower, right? It was confronting. And we wanted to take action and we wanted action and we wanted to, just go with it. Okay, I know what the issue is. Those that already figured out the issue and theme they need to work on. We're like, I need to go. I've got the issue. I need to fix it. Not so fast. So if you haven't fixed your issue yet, that's okay. You're not supposed to. If you haven't found out what it is yet, let's keep going. Let's keep diving in so we can talk a little bit more about this. And think about where Mars is at because that Mars retrograde is going to bring it to you. Most people will know what is and is not working in their life right now. Okay? Most people will know if they're not doing what they need to do, they at least have an idea of what they need to do, right? We've got the basics down, right? So with Mars squaring off between the Capricorn party, which is Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto and everything, there's a lot of tension there. There's a lot of tension there. At the same time, we were receiving really this like illuminating start with that full moon. And that was really about, with the sun moving into Virgo at that time, what we had is our luminaries working together, okay? So you had this full moon in Pisces, and this was like just this release. And then you had this Taurus energy coming through with this Uranus and Taurus trine against this full moon, and that was practical solutions. Then you had the Virgo sun, and what this was is about more practical work, practical solutions. And then if you hadn't had a clue yet, hopefully this luminary illuminated the situation for you, right? Because it was data coming in. The sun is information, light, data coming in and everything. So I hope by the 7th you got it and you figured it out. And that's why I want to be here on September 9th, getting you ready for the next part, okay? So let's think about what is and is not working in your life and the theme. And let's think about this on both the personal, collective level here. So that was the beginning. That's where we're at now. Now you have to keep in mind, you're still in that retrograde season. You're still going back and you're reviewing things. But today, a new retrograde kicks off, and that is Mars in Aries in retrograde. So what I want to say about this is I'm Aries sun. I'm an early Aries baby and everything, but I have a lot of earth in my chart. But there is no denying the Aries fire and the Mars energy. And when I have my Vedic astrology chart done, it's like, ooh, she's got a lot of Mars. I understand this Mars energy, okay? I feel this. I know this. This is me. A lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of astrologers, especially the more pop inclined, like headline clickbait grabbing astrologers, will be like, Mars in retrograde Aries, blah, blah, blah. And they'll try to freak you out about it, okay? It depends where Mars is at in your chart right now. So I'm going to use myself as a personal example here. This retrograde until actually February next year, I have Mars in my 12th house. Well, the 12th house is more the hidden, what's, behind the surface, what's coming up on the horizon. So at this time, I found that the plans that I have, I don't want to talk about them with anyone. I want to just keep my plans to myself. And then maybe next spring, everybody will see what, I've planted over the winter and so forth. But that's where it's coming out. It's more hidden actions. Am I being deceptive about anything? No. Am I sneaky? Is there anything weird there? No. I just feel like keeping quiet for a while now, okay? But if Mars was in my first house, I would be like, whoa, I'm here world, okay? And how I would appear would be a little bit more rash, a bit more aggressive, a little bit more bravado and expression. Like I would come at you and you would feel that energy, that aggression. It would be strong. If Mars was in my second house, we could just go on down. If Mars is in your 7th house, if you can pretty much bet Mars is going to go in your 7th house right now, if it's all about your relationships, So what I want to say about Mars and Aries is with any Aries situation, you have to check your ego, you have to check your impatience, okay? You have to watch your militant ways and your aggression. How I mean militant ways is that there's something very disciplined. That Mars Aries energy can be very highly disciplined. It's very file and rank, okay? So you have to understand that, as I've said all year, the more fixed thinking you are and set, the more challenging this year is going to be. You have to be fluid and flexible. So the Mars Aries energy in the retrograde that's just like, no, it has to be this way. No, it has to be this way. That won't serve you well. So keep in mind on that. No matter which area or house or what theme this is in, you've got to be flexible at this time, okay? You can't get into that. But also with the Mars and Aries and everything like that, it is militant and it's seen as aggression and it's seen as violence. Mars and Aries over the summer is the reason why we have youthful rebellions. When you look at protests and riots taking place on the street, it's very clear to see that it's comprised of young people. Mars and Aries, that's where we're at. Youthful rebellion, okay? Beyond that, and Mars and Aries also took us out. It did such a great job of taking us out from the victim mentality to the survivor mentality. It was great about that. And what Mars and Aries is doing right now for you as you go through this retrograde, okay, you know the issue, deal with it. Stop walling, quit going from victim. Okay, you've got this to deal with, move into survivor. Because even though there's violence, aggression, war, rash, egotistical behavior and all that, the beautiful thing about Mars and Aries is that same fire, because that's the person who is shockingly brave, so brave. And it's also that part of us that's pioneering, that can go in. It's that pioneer spirit that you can go and do something that no one's done before, or you can tackle something you didn't even know you were capable of. That's the energy available to you at this time, okay? If you stay away from the harsher and more challenging qualities of Mars and Aries, you're aces, you're gold. You've got that fire in your belly you need to take from this is a problem to here's how I'm going to fix that problem, okay? So Mars is going to be in Aries from I think September 9th to around mid-November. And you figured out what the issues were. It was kind of hard to take action in the external world when it's not cooperating with you. You did all that internal work of the retrograde, but now you've got to make it work. You've got to take the internal and make it external. And Mars and Aries retrograde can help you with that. It can help you with that. It can present you with more challenges at this time. Like I said, it depends the house that it's going in, But let's say it's in your 7th house and you're in a relationship that you need to get out of. It served its time and everything like that. But you're comfortable there, or it's awkward there, or it's hard and it's scary on your own. This retrograde can give you what you need, because Mars and Aries is independence. It's a very independent spirit. Okay? So that's something you can go into. The other thing I warned about Mars and Aries, besides the fact that it would result in the youthful rebellion that we have seen take place, sure enough, was that when Mars was squaring Saturn, it's such a worthy opponent. I could bring up an example of this in my life, because I thought, as Mars ruled Aries, and Saturn ruled Capricorn, I thought about the only 2 times I've really went up against a Capricorn. And I'll just say that Mars and Aries is a formidable opponent. So there's a lot of top-down authority, corrupted officials, fascism vibes, really authoritative things. When we had the Mars and Aries, we've seen that. You can go on the internet and you can see what's happening with lockdown situations in Australia, in LA, and other spots. That is top-down authority. That is a smackdown. That is a control. And the Capricorn thing is all about control issues. So let's not just think about, where's Mars at in my house right now? Let's think about your control issues. And take that problem, that theme, those issues you've got, those problems you need to solve, and look at other people's control issues and or your own control issues, because that is a huge theme at this time. So when Mars was squaring off against Saturn, which we had for the beginning of September, what that happens is like, good luck with that. There was a blowback. And this is, the fascism vibes that we have that will continue to go on, that we need to be mindful of on many, many fronts. But it's also that whole thing. I call it the baby versus the boss, Saturn is Lord of Karma, Father of Time. Mars and Aries. Aries is the baby of the zodiac. Nobody puts baby in the corner. And I think that's what the people who think they're in charge are realizing, that nobody puts baby in the corner. So as you go into this retrograde and everything, you're literally like getting yourself out of the corner in a situation. That's where I feel this is positive news with Mars and Aries that other people aren't really talking about. It will get challenging, and it is possible that it could lead to violence if people give into that war, aggressive energy that comes with Mars and everything. We've got to check our head and check our ego and not be brave but rash about it, but be rational, in our bravery. At the beginning of the month, we also had a great grand Earth trine. I was loving that. I thought that was really good energy. We recently had the moon in Aries and Taurus, which was a wonderful time. And then the other thing I'm really happy about, I just cannot wait for, is when Jupiter goes direct on the 12th. I think that this is just something that is it's much needed at this time. And for a lot of us, it's hard to get things going when the planet of higher education, travel, luck, all these things. Like when Jupiter's not in our corner, it's far more difficult for us all. So when Jupiter comes back on the 12th, we can see it. I have been noticing that I don't follow political astrology too much, but just enough to, I dip my toes in the water, I guess you could say. I've noticed how things are timed out politically. There's obviously, I mean, things aren't coincidence. A date is not chosen accidentally. I think that there is magic happening on that level all the time. I mean, all of it. So one thing I've noticed after an astrologer pointed it out, and I've been looking there, I will give credit to Starseed Astrology on this, is the U.S. president's timing of things in accordance with Jupiter. And when Jupiter goes direct on the 12th, I've personally predicted that the president who's up for a re-election but not spending any campaign money on ads is going to, he's been pretty quiet, pretty tame, all things considered, up for re-election. The opponent's coming out swinging. He's been pretty tame. And I thought, okay, so if he's timing this by Jupiter, when the 12th hits, he's going to come out swinging. Well, what's funny was he didn't even wait for Jupiter to leave the retrograde. He just waited for Jupiter to do this direct standstill thing before going and fully moving out of the retrograde. So he even went to Jupiter, Florida this weekend. I can't make this stuff up. I was laughing. I saw Jupiter trending on Twitter and I thought, oh, it was some astronomy thing. No. The president was in Jupiter, Florida. So right when Jupiter had hit that and started moving, he's back on the campaign wagon. He was in Jupiter, Florida. He's in North Carolina. So you could pretty much bet as this week unfolds, as we go into this week and the 12th hits, that there will be a lot more coming out there because he's been playing off Jupiter for quite a while. So luck's changing, it's turning around, and a lot of people are using that for their benefit, and you can too. Especially if you're Jupiter ruled, if you're a Sagittarius and everything, this is really good news for it. I really see STARCAST May. I believe I wanted to cry. I was expecting all of this, so I felt like in March and April I was more stabilizing. By May, it got a little worrisome because I saw that this really is spiritual warfare. June and July, it was so hard to talk to everyone because I don't like to be the bearer of the bad news. I'm Aries sun. I want to deliver the light. I want to deliver the positivity, But September is when we can get our game back. It's pretty good. So what I want you all to know so much is that we're in this part where there's it's like the dominoes were set up and they're falling now. And we can't really control that. That was the big message of the full moon, is let go of the things that you cannot change, and start working on those things that you can change. Instead of focusing on everything that's falling apart, focus on what you truly want to, what you value and what you want to preserve. So how I see it, the dominoes are set up and they're all falling just like the stars say that's happening this year. But what's happening is it's all a buildup to the winter solstice. And I never thought I would say this. I've checked my notes and against Jung, and I mean, the age of Aquarius, first of all, I just want to say that, I'm not into the whole new age. It's all great, it's all groovy, because it's not all great and groovy. It's not all new age and light and love and everything like that. I mean, I believe in the light and the dark. Both exist. They both exist. So I'm not all light and love, because there's this other side, and it's a worthy opponent that we have to deal with and we have to confront. We have to confront our shadow side, our darkness within, and all of that. So it is weird, and I feel almost new agey weird saying it, but when I look at the astrology of the winter solstice of 2020, I don't know what to call that besides a full-on reset and a move into the age of Aquarius. When you have that many major planets at 0 degrees Aquarius, what else is that? 0 degrees, that's a critical degrees. It's a beginning, okay? It's a beginning. So, speaking of critical degrees, Mars is just leaving a very critical degrees of Aries. Not comfortable there. So earlier this week, it was a little touch and go and everything. You might have noticed that if you're like, what was that? That's what that was. Mars was hitting, I believe, 29 degrees Aries. So that is what you call a critical degrees. So if 29 would be that ending degrees in that area, 0 is obviously a beginning. So imagine if you have all these planets and they're 0 degrees of Aquarius. That is, I don't know what else to call that besides the age of Aquarius. It's a full reset. So as we're going through things, my main message to you in September, and it's going to be all throughout fall, is do everything possible now to get your ducks in a row, to get yourself in a good place, to wrap up, to put a little bow on this crazy year. And on the winter solstice, know that we're entering a new time, and to create that space so it's a good time for you. It's a good time for you. But do your work right now. You have Saturn in retrograde until the 27th of this month. If you do your work, Saturn will leave a present at your door. I promise you that. If you put in your work, Saturn will reward you. What work does Saturn want you to do? Saturn's the one that keeps telling you to stop worrying about other people's messes and to worry about your own, okay? Stop talking about the mess over at your neighbor's house and open the door to your own messy room. So this whole thing, and I've been saying this for months, is about going back and cleaning up your messes. Going back and cleaning up your messes. And now there's issues, there's broken systems, there's things in your life that aren't working. Now, right now, and as we go into this next week, so September, 9th to the 12th here, as we get ready, this is the time to clean up, to tie up your loose ends, to do all the things you've been putting off, to stop avoiding the emotional confrontations that you need to have with yourself and other people, to stop acting like the broken systems and structures in your life are going to be fixed by someone else, that someone on the outside is going to save you. Let go of that. Save yourself right now. You've got 3 months. You've got actually till the 27th. So all those things you're seriously procrastinating on that are the responsible things or things you need to do, please get those done before the 27th. So Saturn can reward you and leave something at your door. You do not want the Lord of Karma and Father of Time to put you on the naughty list, okay? You know what I mean? It's like that. So work on these things. Work on this. I'm personally doing this. I'm practicing what I'm preaching. But my main message I had for this month, no joke, this is literally what it says. No excuses. You have 3 months to get your shit together. Okay? And if you coulda, woulda, shoulda, I don't know, I can't. If you're in that, I want you to know that there is energy available to you at this time. Despite all this crazy and all this nonsense and all this external stuff, there is energy available to you at this time that makes the impossible possible. Okay? So when you're, I don't know, say to yourself, I can make this happen. This is possible. Call on your ancestors. You know what I mean? Help me make this possible. Because it's there. It's there at this time. And that's not crazy talk. That's magic talk. That's making things happen and co-creating with astrology. Because we have challenging aspects and then we have beneficial aspects. I tell you about the challenging ones because you need to know. If there's a detour up ahead or a road closed, you want to know about it, okay? But if there's beneficial ones, I also want you to know because that's what helps you work through those challenges. Or that's the glass half full, part of it all. So this month will begin for all of us in a much different way than it'll end. But what's to be in between is up to you. It's up to you. But we're promised that the beginning of this month is quite different than the end. All right, so I want to go through here and let's talk about all the planets. I feel like I've talked about the luminaries, the moon. We had the full moon September 2nd. We're going to have a new moon September 12th in Virgo. So September 12th, not only do you have Jupiter direct, but you also have the moon going into Virgo and the sun. And this is like work, service. Get it together. If you don't have the information you need, all that. And also September 28th through 30th, you have a waxing gibbous. So in moon magic and moon manifestations, that new moon's on the 12th, but the waxing gibbous on the 28th to 30th is when you have the best lunar energy available to start manifesting. So new moon, think about it, but the 28th and the 30th start taking action. What's so fascinating to me is we begin on the 2nd of full moon, and then October 1st, we have another full moon. And this one is so interesting because October, the first day and last day of the month, is a full moon. How spooky awesome is that? It's wonderful. Okay, so the sun's going to go into Libra September 28th. This autumn equinox is going to be all about balance. The luminaries will have balance. The Libra energy coming through is about balance. There will also be themes of justice, law, mediation. It's a really great time for creating more balance in your relationships, to create design. That Libra energy gives you a great sense of balance and design. I still think that part of work versus home comes up, but if anyone's going to help you find that work-home balance, it's going to be that Libra energy coming in. So by the end of this month, by what you can't figure out how to make work right now, by the end of the month, you could have it grooving. You could just be going along and everything like that. Mercury is in Libra now. It went into Libra on the 5th. So again, relationships, balance, it's all on our mind. And then it moves into Scorpio on the 27th. So again, much different lines of thinking and thought processes and everything. We're going from this, I want peace. I want, harmony, no conflict. I'll be the mediator. I want balance on the scales of justice and everything, to Scorpio, which is more like, let's go dark. And we are having to confront so much of the dark side and the dark arts this year. Any Scorpio energy is beneficial right now because that energy helps us go into the dark recesses and our shadow side and the corners, the dark corners we're normally afraid to explore. So I think that's even beneficial where our mind's going to go. With Venus, woo, rough start. That's why I was saying, hang in there. This energy is lifting now. I just want to say Venus isn't really uncomfortable right now. Venus is stuck in this feminine energy when she wants to be in a more masculine energy right now. So there's a passive nature going on there. Not quite happy about, but Venus actually started the month in a T-square with Mars and Saturn. So when Mars was squaring off against Saturn and that whole thing, which was all last week and everything, Venus was up in there. Not a great place, but you can go back and read our whatthestarsay.com. Venus still loves you in 2020, and you'll see how much the planet of love, beauty, art, and creativity has our back this year. So there's some good news about that. I might go out and fill that out a little bit in the fall because I kind of wanted to get more into that Cancer energy when we were into it and flush out the fall. So there might be a little update to that one, but the information is still important this whole year, as well as the Uranus and Taurus video, which has horrible lighting, but it sounds okay. Okay, so then we go on and we have Uranus. Back in, you can watch that whole video where I break it down and everything like this, but this is part of the rebellion. It's part of the currency issues. October is the 100, we'll get back to that later. I'll go into that. A lot of the extreme weather, earthquakes, the burden of ownership is a big thing here. The burden of ownership, we've been dealing with this energy for 2 years now. We're really looking at what we have and don't have. Meaning what we have, do we have a lot of clutter? What do our possessions mean? What do we truly value? Do we value time or do we value, money, or how is that part working out? And then it's also the burden of ownership, which is debt. And that is going to continue to unfold and everything. With Neptune retrograde in Pisces right now, I love this influence. I've been talking about this. This is really helping the glamour spell rub off. And I said to myself, I will know this Neptune in Pisces retrograde is a full success if Keeping Up with the Kardashians gets canceled. What? It did! Yesterday, y'all. There's a reason I waited for this video. The glamour spell has wore off. What do you value? Do you value narcissism? Are you into selfies? Do you think that it's all about the money? It's all about the front. It's all about how fake you can make yourself look. Oh my goodness. Also, Neptune in Pisces is bringing up deceptive actions. And here, I'm going to stop reveling in the joy that both E! News and Keeping Up with the Kardashians were canceled during this. And the fact that Hollywood, with all their influence and everything, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. It's like they were trying to hold us all to this level that we could never obtain. We could never obtain. We weren't in the secret club at the top of the pyramid. We could never get there. And we were all supposed to look up and idolize that. And the idols have fallen. They have fallen. They have fallen. The influencers have changed. It has all changed, and I think it's a beautiful thing for our society personally. Neptune in Pisces, this retrograde, also is bringing this increased awareness. People are waking up to things so much easier. They're seeing through the deception. That glamour spell's wearing off this retrograde. It is beautiful. I just kind of don't want it to end. But it's also especially with that full moon in Pisces, especially at the beginning of the month, if you had some really vivid dreams and everything, Neptune in Pisces here is really about the intuitive life, the dream life, the subconscious, what's below the water surface and everything. But I want to get to a more serious mode here, and this is something that is a huge theme of September as well, and I want you all to be aware of. with the Neptune and Pisces aspect, we're also dealing with addiction, disease. One of the main things, I mean, addiction is a disease, but addiction, the disease that is alcoholism as well, and mental health crisis. So I really, 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 really at this time encourage all of you to take any warning signs from loved ones and friends seriously. If you're dealing with somebody that is angry, your best bet is just to show them compassion. These are hurt feelings that are coming up, and people could be very angry. That Mars and Aries angry could come out as anger, but what that is it's their suffering spilling out. So if you get into a situation where you're dealing with angry people, don't confront anger with anger. That's not going to work. Confront them with love and compassion and kindness, okay? And the people that are already struggling with mental health, check on them so much in September. Keep them really close to you, and keep an eye on everybody, because this is going to be a hard time. I see this going, I mean, it's already been there, but I see this really through September, November, like building up. I mean, it's like one of those dominoes, like it's already set, you know? So let's really, really take care of ourselves. Check in with yourselves, you know, daily. Check in with your friends. Just make a note, like every day you're just going to, hey, one text, how are you? You know, just check in with people, and really show more love and compassion than ever to anyone who you know or don't know, even strangers on the street who seem to be struggling at this time, okay? Big message. These energies are really hard for everyone, really hard. And if people are already struggling, it's that much more. It's that much more. So please keep compassion in your heart. With Pluto, there is some serious power plays. The Jupiter and Pluto conjunction that happened in June 30th, I pre-ordered a bunch of masks. I knew they were going to do the smackdown. So you could pretty much count in mid-November when that conjunction happens again. It's gonna be another push. We're gonna go through another difficult time. That was June 30th, and it unfolded over like the next two and a half weeks. I think it took about a week and a half to really build up where you could see that coming in. But also keep in mind that all this with Jupiter, you know, that Sagittarius energy is aligning you with your path, realigning you. And Pluto really, really, really is trying to help you trying to transform society to something that works, something that isn't broken, something that isn't corrupt, something, you know what I mean? Something that is more equitable. So there's some good energy in there as well for us. When I go to Mars, we talked about that so much, but I want to say the other thing with this retrograde here, this goes, it was September 9th today to November 13th, and it's going to have a T-square with Saturn and Venus that we already got through. But I want to say the other thing about the Mars retrograde, when I was talking about, you know what the issues are, but I also want you to look at boundaries. Who is testing your boundaries right now? Who is testing your boundaries? You'll find this me versus you, you know, not us versus them, but me versus you, the individual, because Mars and Aries is very, you know, individualized, independent. So look at that. And Mars is the loudest planet right now. So the people that aren't comfortable with the Mars energy, or that already deal with some ego and aggression stuff that, you know, is unchecked, woo, loud. So if all the planets were like a radio station, Mars is up so loud you can't hear everybody else. They just sound like static. It's so loud. It's such a huge influence. So know that as we go through this September 9th to November 13th, who is testing your boundaries? Who is testing your boundaries? That's a huge one. Huge one. So some people will be amped up, rash, impulsive, egocentric, aggressive, but other people will show amazing strategic long-term thinking. Future thinking is possible. Aries has no interest. Mars Aries has no interest in the past. It's all about the future. Even today, who am I going to be tomorrow? Somebody different. It's so future thinking. And now is the time where we don't want any energy around us that's all about the past, because the world is not going to be the same as it was. That's one of the denial phases we have to get out of. So now we're doing strategic, long-range planning, future thinking. We're being brave. We're being independent, you know. That's the good energy. That's the good energy. But know that this is also what you could call trigger season, okay? Be careful. All right. So, yeah, I already got into Mars, Saturn. This is ancient enemies, worthy opponents, baby versus the boss. And the Saturn's going to go direct. Yeah, it's actually the 27th, 28th. I've got both in here. So around that time. But that's how long you have to clean up your messes. And what Saturn's doing this month of September is just testing everybody's limits. Everybody's limits. And that is also the part that goes into the mental health crisis at this time. Everyone's getting pushed to the edge. So to that I say, never, never, never give up. And I also say, lead with compassion and show kindness towards others. Okay, that's a big thing. And then I put Earth. She loves you and she hears you. She loves you and she hears you. The light is winning. Focus on what you value and what you want to preserve. And I think that is so important. I'm including the Earth in here because I think with Uranus and Taurus and everything like that, she definitely deserves to be included. This year is about this time, and the next 6 years is really about getting life on Earth back in balance, back in harmony, and putting people and nature before profits and environmental destruction. It's a huge theme that we're already in right now. And this September, Saturn is going to test everybody's limits. It's going to bring out a lot of money issues. And like I said, you could call that part trigger season. So beware of the Saturn energy and the Mars energy. And hopefully I've explained them well enough here. When you experience or you feel things or you see somebody coming at you, you're like, oh, that's that Mars and Aries energy. Okay. Or, oh, I'm at my edge. Oh, I see you, Saturn. Nope, I'm never, never, never going to give up, So identify these. And the idea is that these cosmic influences, just like the lunar influence and everything, the moon's effect on human beings, plants, nature, the ocean, all of it, right? It's happening whether you're aware of it or not. It's happening whether you believe in it or not. But if you're aware of it and you can see that cosmic influence in your life, it'll help you detach from those strong emotions and not get caught up in it. And that's where your power lies. So recognize, oh, that's Saturn testing my limits. Okay. And then, okay, that must be Mars. Okay, that person's feeling a lot of this Mars and Aries retrograde isn't working out well for them. Whoa, step aside, that kind of thing. Recognize those energies. With the Mars taking on Saturn, we are able to overcome the tyrant. And that is on a global level. So how's Earth? She's still here. She loves you. She's rooting for you, because fascism and just top-down authority is coming out of the wazoo, right now on a global level. So it's so nice to see a formidable opponent right there. But this brings this very serious now or never vibe, because you've got these ancient enemies going against each other, okay? And Mars will play dirty if needed. So it's going to be an interesting month on the whole geopolitical level, on the financial level and everything like that. So we've got, Libra, then we have Scorpio, the moon. Okay, got all that. I think we're good. Like I was saying, that new moon, right? Set clear intentions, clear rewards. Be very clear. This is your time for long-term strategic thinking. So you need to think about how you're going to clean up all your messes and get it together before the winter solstice. And then you need to think about a long-term plan. This is about work, health, service. You need to get the plan together. And then the 28th, 30th, put it into action. Use that waxing gibbous moon to manifest these new beginnings for yourself, this new plan and everything like that. And like I said, this is the whole, this can be a challenge, but if you're aware of it and detached from it, you can make it work. This can be beneficial. I mean, we are given both. We are truly given both at this time to work on it. I just want to go through real quick where we're at, where we've been, what's happening. Yeah, Pluto is in retrograde, but Pluto's going to stand still in early October. So we still got that retrograde. So Uranus and Taurus, retrograde, getting started. Neptune and Pisces. It's deep into the spell removal. It's lifting that veil. Saturn and Capricorn in retrograde until the end of the month. Pluto in retrograde. Jupiter in retrograde until later on this week. Mars just went into retrograde. This means the story is still unfolding. Okay? If you don't have all the answers yet, it's okay, because the story is still unfolding. You might not know the specifics of you want, but you know what you value. Just think about what you value and what you want to preserve, and how, your path is realigning for you at this time. A lot of people have had to pivot and make jumps quickly, and there's been some people that have just been wowing me and impressing me with how they're able to do this. But for some of us, it's not as easy. And some of us are in industries that have crumbled, have totally changed, that are struggling to hang on. It's not easy at this time. You don't have to know everything. You just have to focus on what you value and what you want to preserve. So you might not be able to say, oh, I'm going to go over to this field, but you know kind of what job you want. You know what you need and everything at this time. Or you might not know what you're going to do when you leave that relationship you needed to get out of for a long time, but you know that you will value that peace of mind, that time alone, that independence perhaps, and so forth. So focus on, again, what you can control instead of what you can't control. And that will really get it going. But also, don't be so hard on yourself. I am saying get your shit together in 3 months. I'm not going to sway on that. But don't be so hard on yourself about things not moving forward. Because how can everything move forward when all of these planets are backwards? Okay? So cut yourself some slack there, and know that it's that end of the month. You've got to figure it out. You got to do your planning. You got to get everything in place. And it's the end of the month when so many planets have moved out of retrograde. And we have that waxing gibbous moon, the 28th to 30th, that you can really start going after it and really start chasing over it. This month is a buildup. And you're having to go from tension, and all these external things you can't control around you, to what you can, to going to a more peace of mind in the things you can control. This is the journey that you're on this month, really. Like I said, this is so much of the big guys, the big events that I want to hit for this month. But the idea is just to fill in some blanks with some Instagram posts, some Facebook posts, just the one-off to talk about certain things, and then also to do some blogs. The energies have got so crazy, it's really like doing a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday breakdown isn't as helpful. I'm going to say this because when you do it, with the weekly blogs and it's like Monday through Sunday breakdown, it's so hard because it's such a general reading. It's so general, and it does not take into account any of the specifics of your transits, of your birth chart, of all of those things. I mean, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. What I try to do, though, is like talk about these major events and these lunar cycles and how the cosmic influence on us all, And so that gets really narrow. But what I found really is it's these aspects that are really popping off that are making things happen. And I find it key. And that's why I really wanted to talk about the, Mars square Saturn aspect, because that's the big player. That's the big story of the week. That's the big news. That's the headline. And there's other days where it's like, we've had some quiet astrological weekends. It's like, well, I could say some things for Tuesday through Thursday, but then it goes kind of quiet. So the main thing is about these aspects that come in that you're like, wait, what? I would love to help guide you all through the lunar cycle so you personally know. And then we have the moon. I've had moon courses available, and I have moon sessions available now if you want to know that. But just knowing where the moon's at can help you navigate on a pretty personalized level and know what's best for you. And the general moon astrology is really helpful too, because we're all there. But what I found is it's these aspects coming at us in 2020 that are really the key information that is pivot points that hits us off. It's like the dominoes falling into place and everything. So I hope this format is helpful in that way, and then I can fill in the blanks for the rest of the month. But I will say September is a much easier cosmic message to deliver. There's a lot of positivity at this time, even though it's such a struggle. We need the potentiality, the energy from the cosmos to make the impossible possible. It's really like all the miracles and prayers are needed at this time, because this is a serious time. The work from home balance, just going back to school, how are we going to resume our life? Over 50% of the population is underemployed or unemployed. This is a real serious time. This is a global event that we're all experiencing. So it's so helpful to know who's your ally out there, and see how things change and how the flow feels different for you when Jupiter goes direct, later this week and towards the end of the month and everything when Saturn moves out of retrograde. But just know, hang in there, never give up, and check on the people that you love, because this month will test some limits. It will test anger and ego, and it will test the limitations of authority and what they think we're willing to put up with, and the broken systems that we're being confronted with at this time. So take care and spread kindness. And thank you so much for your time and your patience and your interest in this subject.